Hey guys, and welcome to another video update. Today I have decided to dive into my Elementalist explosive arrow build. I made this build last league and a couple of leagues before. This is my own custom setup. I've tweaked it a little bit for the leveling experience based on a few new items and uniques and the skill changes and etc. I found the leveling to be so smooth on this build once I got it ramped up. It is absolutely incredible. I will link multiple different path to buildings in the description below up into the level 69 point. This is literally just finished Act 10. I have not even jumped in the map yet. I wanted to make a character update video on this, so you guys are going to see bits and clips in the coming cuts to basically show you from early game to level, I think Act 9 and Act 10 I got footage on too, just how smooth the leveling playthrough is. Now, I do have quite a few good items that I picked up throughout the playing experience on my summoner build, so it did make the leveling a little bit easier, but this can be done on a tabula with a 4-link bow I found, and like, it's incredible. Like, explosive arrow still has every bit of its punch, and it's insane firepower. I managed to do both the first and second labs with bare minimum requirements. I have not done Mercy Lab, I have not done Uber Lab yet, so I'm literally doing this only on 2 of the 4 ascendancies, so that's pretty good right there. Now let's dive on into it a little bit. I used Val Rain of Arrows for my DPS burst as I was leveling. I basically had this on a 5-link the entire time. It did some pretty insane damage. This is like my burst damage and my boss killer, rare killer additional damage. It is basically Rain of Arrows with Val Rain of Arrows. I'm using the Val version, not the normal Rain. It is attached to added cold damage, added fire damage, elemental damage with attacks, and then added lightning damage. Now also notice the levels on these. These are bare minimum levels too. We're level 69. Now the other major item I played with this league is this new Thristle Barbute helmet. Non-stop onslaughter uptime. Absolutely phenomenal for speed, attack speed, everything. I love this helmet. I'm going to try and make the build around this helmet this league because I have a few key ideas. I want to try and path the building, see if it'll work out. I got basically just a regular level 66 quiver. I just literally equipped this thing towards the end game for some life, accuracy, etc. We have a pretty nice amulet I found on my Raging Spirits character. We have basically just a res ring with a little bit of life, regen, rarity, not so much. We are not res caps. Let's put it that way right now. I still need fire and cold res. We have another just 2-stone ring for intel and rarity. Curse flammabilities is min-max mandatory for basically Act 8 and up. You need it. I found this chest as a 6-link with the right color sockets already as I was leveling in Act 10, basically heading to the final Katava fight. And I just basically essence spammed it with the life essence. I think it was a dreaded essence times 5, and I hit the 120 life with armor rolls and then just a little bit of res. So that worked out very well in my favor. Gloves are straight gloves, literally just a little accuracy, a little attack speed. Not too, it is only an item level 14 too, so Infernal on Kill is a very good enchant. I would highly recommend you get that. That really does help for AoE ignites and early game leveling. Standard Piranha's Cloth Belt. I really love the flask uptime, so I stuck with this pretty much from 16 up. And then I just had basically a generic 20% movement speed boots, and then I added these in as I got a little bit higher in level. Just life, regen, movement speed, and life for the most part. Flask are straightforward. Immunity to corrupting blood, evasion on an armor flask, and then reduce curses on an evasion flask. Then we just have double movement speed flask right now, but we will replace the 4th one with something else. I just don't know yet what. I'm thinking maybe a Chaos Res one with like maybe increased evasion or something. We will determine that later on. Straight use when charges are full. I love these chants, non-stop upkeep, especially when you're zooming around, killing stuff non-stop. The skill tree is pretty straightforward. Shaper of Flames, Shaper of Storms for the first two ascendancies, 1 and then 2. Really straightforward. Then we're going to go Aegis for a little more defensibility. And then as we hit levels 80 to 90s, I will switch over to Masterminded Discord. For this is going to be the 4th ascendancy for right now. And then the final one, when we finally swamp out of Bastion of Elements, we will be swamping into Heart of Destruction for T16 mappage. This is very good for T16s. Not mandatory, but it does help. Otherwise, you can get away with just running Bastion of Elements and then Mastermind of Discord. The tree has been pretty straightforward the entire leveling experience, minus me swamping these nodes right here and these 3 nodes up here. I had these early game leveling, and then I swamped into quick recovery, and then we came up to take all the basically damage nodes and life nodes once I actually got Explosive Arrow up and running. The main takeaway I want you guys to get from this right now is I am not using Ancestral Bonds just yet. I really like the added burst damage for Veil Rain of Arrows. It really does help leveling. Do not take Ancestral Bonds. You guys will see throughout the coming clips. Ancestral Bonds will limit your ability to use Veil Rain of Arrows to actually help you do deeps and damage. So save off on this node right now, but literally you can follow the tree to a dime. Basically taking these nodes, take Recovered Life when you ignite a non-ignited enemy. This is min-max mandatory. You want to take this early as you can. It does help with your life regen because you will be starved for life early game. I think I played most of the early game with 1,000 to 2,000 max life and just barely res capped. Auras, we are using Clarity, Summon Skitterbots, and Purity of Elements for element immunity. So Clarity and Purity of Elements are mandatory with this build, and Summon Skitterbots I will get into in a second, because the main skill you want to get when you get Summon Skitterbots is you want to come over here. 40% increased effects of non-damaging ailments. Very, very strong on Skitterbots. If you can see right now, or if we go over to our Skitterbot tab, we are basically running 146% shock with 130% chill effectiveness, and that is mainly because I have Skitterbots on Unbound ailment support for basically 51% increased effectiveness of non-damaging ailments. This not only gives us really insane shocks, this also gives us really insane chills for just slowing enemies a little bit for more defensive measures. You need Dreamers because your Explosive Arrows will cost quite a bit without it, and without that mana reduction. I'm just now starting to get my mana pool up a little bit more as we start trekking down into the tree. We do have Mage Bane, but we do not have reflexes or spell suppression up here. We are currently only sitting at 37% spell suppression chance. So when we get these, it'll bump us up a little bit more. I came down to the left side of the tree first to get Bravery, and then I also had this jewel I found while I was leveling on my Raging Spirits character. So very, very good jewel. It's got attack speed, life, damage, and intel. We took Avatar of the Hunt. Let's see, I came up and grabbed these life notes, Heart of the Oak. Then we moved down into One with Nature for added damage and res. Movement, speed, and spell suppression are godly with onslaught bonuses. More spell suppression. And then with the final few point nodes from Katava Kill Act 10 finished, I took these 3 life nodes right here. We will come down and grab these totem nodes down here as the next set of like 5 or 6 nodes, and then we will start trekking our way down the tree to dexterity, come up to physical bow damage, deadly draw, we'll come over, down life nodes. These totem nodes will be the last set of our points, along with these evasion armor nodes up here, and then I will min-max the auras at a later video, but we are also going to be picking up these 2 nodes, and then possibly getting Grace has increased mana reservation also. So that's just a quick little rundown of this character so far. Stick around. The path of building, I will have a link in the description below. I will briefly show you the path of building, and then we'll do about maybe 5 or 10 minutes worth of gameplay as we are leveling if you want to skip ahead past all that. Thank you guys for tuning in, and stick around. More is to come. Alright, welcome to the first path of building. Now this is pre-Act 10 completion. This is the basic skill tree I've used for most of the leveling experience, including the gear, along with a few little tweaks and modifications here and there. But this is pre-Act 10 Katava Kill. This will be Path to Building 1 in the description below. If you guys want to copy this up into the basically Act 10 portion, which will be in the next video. Tree is pretty straightforward as is. Only difference I did not mention in the first intro video was I do have a Rain of Splinters Crimson Jewel. This basically gives us 2 projectiles for our totems. We have 47% reduced totem damage, and we are immune to corrupting blood because of the enchant. This is about a 1 divine or 3 divine jewel, so take that with a grain of salt. If you guys are leveling with this, you do not need immunity to corrupting blood. You can get it through the Pantheon tree as you get into maps, and once you do get into maps. So this corrupting blood is not mandatory on this jewel, but you can also get it on rare jewels. It is highly recommended. It makes playing totems so much more easier, and you don't have to worry about basically spamming your life flask or whatever flask to get corrupting blood off of you. So very good enchant corruption to have on your jewel. Highly recommend you get one. And then obviously we got Elemental Overlord. You do not need this strength node until you start getting items with more strength. If you have gear with strength on them as base, you can kind of get away not using this node right here. I basically put this in a little closer to the 60s just to get a little added strength. So this is not min-max mandatory yet, but it is recommended if you do start speccing in the items that have big strength requirements and armor requirements. Next, as always, we have the totem nodes with taunt totems. That really does help your survivability. We have plus 50 to life. We have the mana nodes over here and reservations, the holy fire nodes, etc. As the tree is pretty straightforward from what I explained in the first video, I am going to look at the DPS stats right now. At level 64, our explosive arrow was basically doing about 153,000 ignite, give or take, with 10 fuses up. So these stats are kind of take it with a grain of salt. This is depending on how many stacks you can get up. Onslaught does help you get these stacks a little bit faster. We can jump into the calculator real fast. We get an explosive arrow. Basically, average damage is about 1,300. Main hand hit is about 17, give or take. You do need your ice golem up and running because we do not have precision up and running yet. So accuracy hit chance is still a little bit low even with him up. So make sure you have a ice golem up to buff you for crit chance for elemental overload, along with a buff to help you with your accuracy. Now we do have Val Rain of Arrows. Here's the full setup here in the gem levels. We have Clarity. Keep Clarity at level 5. You do not need this. I took out lesser multiple projectiles. This was basically just a gem I was leveling that we no longer need, so never even needed it. So if you do not have the Rain of Quills gem, which is right here, Rain of Splinters, you need this lesser multiple projectiles in your setup versus like either elemental damage or burning damage. It's up to you. So I would definitely keep Ignite Prolif. I would keep the burning damage. I would keep elemental damage with attacks. Combustion is really good too. I mean, it does add minus fire res debuff to enemies, but you can sub combustion, or you can sub burning damage in with lesser projectiles if needed. So take that with a grain of salt. Skitterbots, obviously, Purity of Elements and Unbound Elements, Word of Inferno, etc. Flammability on our ring. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward tree for pre-64. If you guys want to see the, oh yeah, gear. Basically, same bow. We had a really basic quiver to start with. I've had this quiver pretty much the entire level experience. Same helmet. We were running a tabula versus the 6-link chest I had. Same gloves for the most part. Boots were pretty much straightforward. I think I put these on at 34. Amulet, this was basically just a chopped up amulet. Like nothing special, just rarity and a little bit of crit multi and life. That's it. Like I had this on for the entire leveling experience. It's 2 basic rings. We had the flammability curse ring, same belt, and then obviously the flask also. So, and then we also had the 2 jewels from early leveling too. Alright guys, the second part of the Path of Building will be coming up. Link will be as Path of Building 2 for the post-69 Katava Kill. Alright, here is the second Path of Building now. This is post-Act 10 completion with the Katava Kill. So we still have our same ascendancies. I pretty much went over the skill tree as is. The only difference is we have the life nodes now down here. I'm just going to make this quick, fast, and painless. Items, we have the updated item list with the new items I've acquired in like post 64 up. And then obviously our explosive arrow has gotten much more deadly. We are up to almost about 200,000 ignite damage. We now have a 67% hit chance, along with the combined total DPS of about 841k, give or take. And our reses look a little bit better too. We are still low on chaos res. We are low on cold and fire reses, but these will be getting fixed as we go. And also our skill gems are pretty much just a 1 level higher for the most part. Not much difference has changed. The calculators for explosive arrow, we now have a main hand hit damage of almost 37,000, give or take, with an average damage of 28k. It's pretty good. Like I said, this is with 10 fusings fully buffed in combat. If you get more fusings, you do more damage, obviously, because each fusing scales up your damage. And if for some reason you can manage to get 20 fusings off on 3 totems, you are basically going to be doing about 2 million ignite damage at level 69. So, as I can say, guys, this is going to be linked as the Path of Building 2 post Act 10 Katava Kill if you guys want to copy it from here on out. Thank you for tuning in, and I will bring you an update to the rest of the videos after you guys check out the playthrough footage, which is going to be at the very end of this video. Take care and happy leveling, Exiles.